Yeah, continuing from the last. So, with my posts, I've been taking almost like like an Eminem approach to these posts. Like, I might say whatever I say is kind of relevant in the context of the post itself. It's not like, you know, I'm not necessarily trying to say something grand and ultimate. I'm not trying, you know what I mean? And truth isn't like that anyways. Everything is conditional. I can go around teaching the same 4 fundamental truths that everyone already knows, or I could say something complicated and useful, right? I mean, everyone who went to church on Sunday knows the truth. Everyone who, kind of. So I think that's also something in my creative work that could also appear. Yeah, so just, I found a lot of good things have come from having this sort of like laissez-faire attitude. Yeah, that sort of lays the groundwork for more like rich creativity of just, you know, farting out whatever feels good. I will say this kind of free association exploration that I've been doing is much faster than like more research driven or something. So yeah, and I think sharing, one of the things that's a little bit underlying, I don't necessarily consciously intend it, but I think that's just it. The subconscious is a little bit like controlling the conscious. The subconscious is on the throne here, which I think is really powerful. But in a way, it's like I can teach people. So I can teach people how to get in touch with their subconscious, or it's not even really that. It's more like through having all this subconscious symbolism, they can see themselves. They can have a mirror to themselves. Another thing is I feel that through this subconscious content, this subconscious-based media, that there'll be a much more powerful manifestation from it. And you can just watch it and feel it, and yeah, I think that's powerful. And of course, you know, not just gonna put anything down that comes through, but yeah, it's a neat thing. It's a neat process. Yeah, it should be able to hold up the mirror to someone in a way that something more relatable wouldn't. So that's something interesting. Yeah. I think there's a lot of power in it, and there's one more point I wanted to make that was kind of the biggest point. I have to think for a moment. Continuing from the last, I've been thinking about, you know, what it is that it was coming to me. And I don't think it didn't come to me fully formed, but I was gonna say something and I got interrupted. And so I didn't get to, well, actually I was interrupting, but it came to me and I didn't say it immediately to flesh it out. Maybe I could retrieve it. So basically, you're talking about, how these different things relate to each other, how stories and different story elements relate to, you know, society. What does it mean, basically? So yeah, I was thinking about too, because she was talking about, she was talking about this book she read a long time ago, and you know, it got me thinking, like in the past, like I was saying about John Wayne films earlier, like there are things that are like, you're the entrance character is you, and It's very directly your experience. It's very directly like making a statement about you, or something for you to become almost. Like it's very programming. And it's not so simple anymore. So I think what I'm thinking of is like when you listen to a rap song, like, you know, Eminem, for example. He just kind of says stuff, and it doesn't necessarily, like, it fits a theme, but it's not really coherent. You know, the song isn't a coherent narrative, and that's really common now. So I think this is a little bit of a scenario where, like I used to talk about the MCU versus Looney Tunes, and then I realized that Final Fantasy, the series, is a good example that kind of is the answer to my question. I won't go into what that question was because I already did something on it. So I already discussed that. Okay. I think it's like that where, you know, a clear narrative isn't really having a very, you know, particular narrative structure. I don't like it. I don't like there to even have to be like a narrative. So I think this is what's happening, is this conversation now is me zooming down and understanding it a little bit more. Yeah, probably the answer of between like just pure, you know, basically pure rapper vibes and, you know, sort of the serialized? I don't know if I'm using that word correctly. Okay, formulaic or something. Talking about John Wayne films. I think maybe the answer is also in the Western genre, and that's like spaghetti westerns, where like no one cares about geography, no one cares about if things make that much sense, things just keep happening. I've looked at spaghetti westerns for inspiration for a long time, but I think this is where that inspiration fits in. So yeah, I have to think on that a bit more, but I think this is exactly what I'm thinking about, because spaghetti westerns, you don't look at Clint Eastwood and see yourself as, you know, his Blondie or whatever. You just watch the movie, and the movie's so interesting because it's something, you're watching something happen that's not within your consciousness, so it's able to bring something to you. It's able to explain something to you that you otherwise wouldn't find for yourself, and I mean, to me, I feel like that's the point of, I don't want to watch TV to be told who I am. I want to watch TV to see something new. Yeah, you watch TV to learn something new, and I think this can almost give you like this access to this archetypal force, and there my language is going a bit Jungian. It's just efficient sometimes, you know. And some things this is a little bit like of a even more meta, I think, than Jung, in the sense of saying, you know, some things are archetypes. Sometimes there's something that's more like a role than, say, a god or something like that. Like there's a few trickster gods, and probably there's one or some main ones. Of course, what's behind archetypes isn't actually, the archetype isn't the most primordial thing. The most primordial thing is a pattern set by, you know, conscious beings. That's part of my beef with the whole Jungian archetypal type speaking. But I think in this case, maybe what it is archetypal is to take these things that are crystallized and are real and do have a particular reality, and to sort of sort of dissolve them. Use archetypes as a medium to dissolve these things, or or to dissolve them into archetypes, and then dissolving into archetypes, then it can out of that can precipitate some new thing, because it's like many things are kind of all of concepts are sort of mixed together, are able to mix freely with this slightly more archetypal view, and then that can be sort of more artistic. So, no, that's interesting. Because it's not as interesting, because I've thought about this, what if I made it more allegorical, and like, okay, this character is basically Saturn, this character is basically this character is basically that, and that always really bores me. I think it's because, you know, we are all these complex, like, we're these avatars that are shown through many lenses. So, you know, one person might be a little bit of this god, a little bit of that god, through that god, through the other god, you know. This god wearing the costume of another god, and down the line it goes. And so I think having this more archetypal way of thinking about it can do a lot of good in representing the way that it actually is.